Hello there, students from 8th BYS from Beehive School. This is teacher Krishna, and welcome to our follow-up online lesson for the week. So this will be your science class for week number 13. And before we start, let me thank you all for all of the effort you're doing into entering these online classes and successfully completing all of the exercises that have been assigned towards these 3 weeks that we have worked on. So thank you a lot, guys, for all of the effort one more time. And with that being said, we are going to start up with some general instructions. So these are instructions that we have followed during the weeks. So we're going to go pretty quick over them. So get your book and go to the Google Classroom, download your Word document, and write down this format name in your document. The only difference in this week is that you need to add week number 13 in the beginning. All right, let's continue. As we move, remember to take notes on your Word document. That is very important because that will help you to keep track of the most important information that you are going to be learning during the video. And this week we're going to study lesson number 3, pages 84 to 89. And as always, we have to begin with the end in mind. So here is our end in mind for the week. Interprets what layers of the atmosphere has the lowest temperature by reading the graphs given. So this is the first thing that you need to copy in your Word document, so make sure to keep track of our end in mind. So the topic that we're going to study is layers of the atmosphere. So the first thing we have here is imagine a trip in a hot air balloon. At 3 kilometers, the air gets colder, and at 6 kilometers, it is hard to breathe, so you have to go back. So pretty much this is caused because of the effects that you are going to find in altitude and in the different layers of the atmosphere. And pretty much the atmosphere has 4 layers. They are the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and the thermosphere. Okay, and here we have an image that represents the trip that I was telling you about. So now in the follow-up parts of the presentation, we're going to be learning about the 4 layers of the atmosphere. So as always, it's always important to keep track of the most important information. So the first layer that we're going to study is the troposphere. So, what is the altitude in which you can find the troposphere? You will find it about 0 to 12 kilometers. And just keep in mind that we are analyzing this from the ground and above. Okay? So, what is the temperature that you will find in the troposphere? So, you will find that it's 6.5 Celsius drop each 1 kilometer. So what does that mean? So in the first kilometer, it's going to be a minus 6.5 Celsius. All right, now if we go 2 kilometers above, then we have to double the drop of the temperature. So it's not going to be 6.5, but it's going to be 13 Celsius, or most likely minus 13 Celsius. So on and so forth. So the higher you go into the atmosphere, the lower the temperature will drop, okay? And now we have some general observations about this. So it is a layer where weather occurs. It tends to vary a lot. So when we talk about weather, we can talk about like a cloudy weather, a rainy weather, a foggy weather, etc., etc. So that is why it says that it changes a lot, because depending on the region on Earth where you are at, it will have a different weather. For example, in Shela, we have a pretty cold weather, and it's not that rainy. But if we go to Retaluleu, for example, we're going to find that it's a way warmer weather, and of course, we can find a lot more rain in there. Okay, so continuing with the observations, we have a small term in there which is tropo. So that means turning or changing. remembering that the name of the layer we're analyzing is troposphere. So most likely it's a part that changes or turns a lot differently. Okay, continuing, its measurement changes in the poles, and it can go from 9 to 16 kilometers. So remember that we mentioned that it has an average altitude in between 0 to 12 kilometers. But if you go to the North Pole or to the South Pole in Earth, then it will have a different measurement, as it is specified in here. And lastly, it contains almost all the mass of the atmosphere. So this is one of the most interesting things about this layer, because even though it is one of the littlest ones, it contains most of the mass of the whole atmosphere. Right, so that'll be it about the troposphere. Let's continue with the next layer. The next layer is the stratosphere. So now, we're going to analyze its altitude, and it's about 12 to 50 kilometers. So, just like you can notice, we finished with the first layer at 12 kilometers, and now we continue with the second layers from 12 kilometers to 50 kilometers above. And now the temperature, it's minus 60 Celsius. So that's pretty cold. Remember that water freezes at 0 Celsius. So below that is a very cold temperature. Observations. It is the second layer of the atmosphere, just like I mentioned before. And here is another interesting thing. The higher it goes, the warmer it gets. Remember that in the last layer we analyzed that the higher we will go, the colder it will get. But in the stratosphere, things are different. Why? Because if you go higher and higher, it's going to start getting warmer and warmer. Let's continue. It has a middle layer with much more ozone than in the rest of the layers. I'm sorry I missed an S in there. And we have something important in there, that is ozone. What is it? So basically ozone is composed by 3 parts of oxygen, and it turns solar energy into heat. So this is something very important, because remember that in the system where we live in air, it is in constant contact with the rays from the sun. So pretty much what happens is that the more ozone there is, then the warmer it will get. Okay, now we're going to jump to our evaluation. It was a pretty quick topic. So what you have to do is read pages 84 to 89 and complement your summary. So especially you need to read pages 88 and 89. So I already summarized most of the content from the topic, but I would like you to read the last 2 pages in order to learn about the last 2 layers in the atmosphere. Okay? Once you have your summary complete, then you have to create a PowerPoint presentation with the information from your summary. There is something very important. Do not copy and paste. And I shared my PowerPoint presentation with you already, so you can have it there as a reference. But it's extremely important that you do not copy and paste the information that I have here, because you have to use your own words. Okay? So if you copy and paste, you are not going to have a complete points. Then you need to include your name, grade, section, topic, and the end in mind as an introduction to your presentation. So that is the first thing that I will check in your PowerPoint presentation, that you have all that information in there. So you need to add images as well to your presentation, and add transitions and animations. If you have problems using PowerPoint, you can go in YouTube and look for a tutorial on how to use this program. So they can teach you on how to insert text, how to insert images, and how to add transitions and animations. Okay, and now let's go with the rubric for evaluation. So completing meaningful content, that will have 2 points. Images, 2 points. Grammar, 2 points. General instruction of the presentation, introduction, body, and conclusion, 2 points. General appearance of the presentation, 1 point, and lastly, animations and transitions, 1 point. So that is pretty much it for today's lesson and for the week's lesson as well. One more time, thank you for coming, and thank you a lot for the effort that you're doing into completing and keeping up with your learning from the school. So I will be seeing you next week. Goodbye, guys.